Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to today's Talking Points video. Obviously this was NXT Showdown, this was NXT against TNA, but of course we also had AEW taking place at the same time, and so NXT needed to make sure that this show delivered. I think they did a good job of hyping the show up, but I don't think this was one of the stronger episodes actually of NXT. There was a lot of star power. There was certainly a lot of people that competed on the show, but actually there was a lot of sloppiness, quite a few botches, and the crowd as well at places were really quiet, really dead. I don't know if it's because it became a bit obvious as to where things were going. Certainly by the time Trick Williams was like walking away during that main event, it kind of felt like Team TNA were going to get the victory in that match. And of course that would level things 2-2, and that makes sense as well. So I was just talking during the watch along. I think that the right winners won. I like the fact that the referees didn't really get involved. I was a bit worried that Jordan and Joe Hendry were going to do some stupid stuff, but they didn't. Although there was some cards at one point, which was really random. But we can like work our way through and see what went down. So we started off with the Hardys against Darkstate, and you can see that Darkstate had the numbers advantage. Darkstate would have a couple of members removed from ringside by the referee, and so then we would get kind of settled down into a normal match. In the crowd were the Dudley Boyz. They're going to be taking on the Hardy Boyz soon at Bound for Glory, and so they actually didn't get involved, but it was good to see them at ringside watching the action. The match then would get underway, and this is just one of the early botches, and this gives you an idea. So, I mean, shot to the midsection, leg drop, completely misses, and there's a little sell there by Jeff. So just really sloppy, weird little bits like that, kind of dotted throughout the night. The opening match was not that great. I mean, I think that it was okay, but as we said, a little bit sloppy in places. Hardys definitely look like they've slowed, and, you know, they're not the team they were, like, you know, years ago. Understandable, of course, no criticism there. But this was a great moment. So they actually do manage to get the victory, and this is the first time that TNA talent win WWE belts. So this was winner take all. Hardys were the TNA tag champs. Darkstate were the NXT tag champs. And we have got and new. So this was a real moment because the Hardy Boyz are now the NXT tag team champs. So the match that might have took place before might not have set the world on fire. But honestly, this was a really great moment. So we kind of got things going, got things moving. Then we moved on to our next match. So we had Mackenzie Mitchell, who used to work for WWE, now works for TNA. She was doing the announcing here. So she was doing the intros as we moved to match number 2. This was the Women's Survivor Series match. So in here, we got the card situation, which was really confusing.
Oh, we know of the LSU Tiger soccer back.
Red card.
Round.
So, I mean, we got a red card, which meant nothing. Like, this was like a weird, like, maybe if that red card had resulted in Jada being eliminated, then, you know, but, I mean, there'd been no conversation of cards, no mention of cards. So to actually have, like, yellow cards, red cards kind of being used, I just thought was a real silly moment, to be honest. That was not one for me. Then we get a Mexican wave in the crowds, which I don't know if that's ever a good sign, honestly. You know, if the crowd are really invested, I don't know that they turn to the Mexican wave, but we had a Mexican wave breakout during this match. We did get the inspiration. It was good to see them, obviously, in action. The Boulder saying that they noticed that Kelani joined in as well with the pose. So, yeah, it was nice to see them again. Again, another botch. This time it was Mara Sade. So here she goes up looking for a moonsault. She's ready and, I mean, just completely overshoots. I mean, that one feels like a 2K glitch. Just completely overshot on that. She would go on to get some eliminations, though. So Mara Sade eliminates Jada Parker, but then was eliminated thanks to a soul snatcher by Sol Ruca. It's hard to know if any of these eliminations are going to have repercussions, like further down the road. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll make a massive deal out of them, but it's worth knowing about. It's worth knowing who eliminated who. Then Lola Vice eliminated both of the inspirations, so Casey Lee and Jessie McKay. Then we had Kelani Jordynne on her own. The crowd were chanting traitor. So it was 3-on-1. We had JC, we had Sol, we had Lola against Kelani. Obviously, with those kind of numbers, it felt like NXT were going to get the victory. Kelani did have a pin on JC, but Jordynne was distracted as the inspiration was still leaving ringside. That was, not really Jordynne's fault. I don't think she did that on purpose, but Kelani, of course, was livid about that. Kelani Jordynne eliminates Lola Vice, and then Mackenzie Mitchell got confused. The end of this match is really botchy. So, it should have been nice and simple. But, so Kelani eliminates Lola, and then Mackenzie Mitchell starts announcing the end of the match. I've not played the clip. Hopefully we can hear it here.
Here are your winners, Team...
Here are your winners, Team... it's not over. That wasn't the end of the match. It's an elimination match. So Lola was eliminated by Kelani. It meant that there was still, a match to continue. But we did get that kind of confusion there. So it was just these little moments, honestly. Jacy Jayne would steal the pin from Sol Ruca, which meant that Team NXT defeated Team TNA. So there we go. It was these two that would survive the match. It was JC, it was Sol. They were our survivors. And so NXT pick up the victory. That makes it 1-1 at this point. Hardy's winning for TNA. NXT coming back with a win in what was a bit of a sloppy second match. Matt Cardona will face Josh Briggs next week. We saw Matt Cardona backstage. There was Matt. Josh Briggs came in. Matt hid behind the door. That match made for next week. Okay, Mustafa Ali had a few seconds of his old WWE theme song before transitioning to his TNA music, which was quite nice. This match, I don't want to say this match saved the show, because the Hardys moment at the start was really, really good. But oh my God, you need to go and check this match out. It is so good. It is so good. I love this spot. Look at this. Ethan jumps up, right? And then straight over into, look at that. That is just so slick from Mustafa. Look, Ethan's up and he just goes straight into that. I thought that was an excellent spot. And there was loads of little moments like this kind of dotted throughout the match. The finish. So Mustafa gets his leg caught with the cabling. We don't know if that was meant to happen or not. But the crowd are like, Mustafa, your leg, it's caught in the cable, right? And he's trying to get rid of it. And look at this spot here. Bang, mate, straight to the outside. That completely shifts the momentum. And Ethan would go on to get the victory. So Ethan would go on to get the win thanks to this moment right here. And that only happened because Mustafa was distracted by the cable that was wrapped around his foot. I think that was the planned finish. I think that cable was meant to get wrapped around him. But it was done so well. Brilliant match. You lot said it was great. 80%. Bayley was loving it. Bayley just said Mustafa Ali, and then 6 minutes later said, you inspire me. So Bayley really feeling inspired by what she was seeing in that match. That match number 3, meant that NXT took a 2-1 lead with 1 match to go. Kind of felt like TNA would probably win that final match to make it 2-2, but we didn't know for certain. Backstage, Lexis King bumped into Wagner Jr. and thought it was Tavian Heights. It was not. Tavian would arrive just moments later. A match being made between Lexis and Wagner, I believe, for next week. Then we also had this moment right here where Zaria seems to be a little bit upset with Sol. Sol did not kind of stand up for Zaria and help Zaria get onto that women's team. Zaria not happy about that. So are we now starting to kind of tease the dissension? Are we starting now to actually get a falling out between these two? Interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Sol was like, come on, we can go after those tag titles, trying to get her back on side, you know. That's when Blake Monroe would arrive, and she said she had her sights set on one of these titles, making it very clear it was that one and not the speed one, right? So, yeah, that was kind of all going on backstage. Then we got to our main event. So this was Team NXT, all wearing these matching jerseys. Team NXT, they were making their way down, and they got a very early elimination, right? So an early elimination, unfortunately, meant that Frankie Kazarian was able to get a pin and eliminate Miles Bourne. So Miles Bourne was eliminated straight out of the gates. Then we had Leon Slater eliminate Javon Evans. So that meant that Team NXT was just down to Trick and Ricky. Trick Williams would then walk away. He gave up, just left. That meant that it was Ricky on his own. So Trick Williams walking away. That then meant that Ricky had to do it by himself. He eliminated Frankie Kazarian. He managed to eliminate Leon Slater. So that meant that he got it down to just Moose and to Mike Santana. But unfortunately, that's where he ran out of steam. Team TNA pick up the victory. Mike Santana pins Ricky. And again, it's just worth noting because I don't know if there's going to be any repercussions about who pinned who, right? This match, better than the women's, but the crowd were flat. Honestly, the crowd, I think at this point, kind of figured out where things were going. Ricky on his own was probably not going to be able to beat the whole Team TNA. So it just sort of felt like, yeah, no. I mean, he did get a couple of eliminations, but then, of course, ran out of steam. I mean, it would have sucked if Ricky had beaten all of Team TNA on his own. That would have sucked. So I think the crowd were kind of like, right, TNA really should win, and we should level the scores. And that kind of took a bit of the drama away. We were saying during the watch along, come on, guys. Come on, get behind Ricky. But it was you could have heard a pin drop. So, you know, it does feel like they got things a little bit wrong. I think the winners are right, but maybe the way they went about the matches weren't quite right. I thought the early Miles Bourne pin was strange. Trick walking away, I think, was to kind of be, you know, anticipated. I kind of thought that might happen. But there we go. Moose and Mike Santana standing tall. Then we waited to see what was going to happen. So, you know, how were we going to end this? Was we going to drop a big bombshell? Was there going to be a new arrival or arrivals? Like, what was we going to do to put the cherry on top? How was we going to send this episode home? And to be honest with you, we just went backstage. Ava said that they're going to do a battle royal next week where they're going to find a number one contender for Jacy Jayne. And she said it'd be great if we could use some knockouts. And she shook hands with Santino and was like, you know, this partnership's been great. Here's to a bright future. And that was it. I mean, making it very clear that any kind of beef was now squashed. Like, this was it. This was them getting it out of their systems, you know? And that's it. I mean, look, this show was clearly put together to rival AEW. I think a lot of people said it was rushed. A lot of people felt like it was undercooked. A lot of people felt like they could have done a lot more with it. But, you know, I think bottom line is they didn't want to make it too heated because you don't want to cause... I think they know that tribalism is alive and well. I don't think you want people, like, really picking a side. and really it becoming a big like online war with people going off on each other. I think they want this to be seen as a partnership that people really like. You know, they want to make sure people tune into TNA this weekend. So it was hard waters to navigate, because I don't think they wanted it getting that fiery. I don't think they wanted it getting that explosive. And the real war tonight was in the ratings against AEW. So they needed this show. They needed to make sure that they pulled the trigger now. And we ended up with what we ended up with. I would imagine most reviews are going to say underwhelming, undercooked, little bit sloppy, bit botchy in places. Honestly, a bit skippable. But I think the two moments that saved the show, Hardy's winning the titles and Ethan and Mustafa putting on a fantastic match. So there we go. That was the Talking Points video. On we go. As I said at the end of our stream, I'm very confident that NXT has been an amazing brand this year. I'm very confident that it bounces back next week with a great episodes. For me, it's been the best brand of all three of the WWE brands in 2025. So I think we bounce back next week. But yeah, that was Showdown. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.